Hi, welcome back to video 3 in the series on clearing the addictions that we have to emotions in our bodies. My recent big breakthrough. My name is Maria Burke and my company is Inspiration. So in the last two videos, what we've been talking about, first of all, I explained about this whole idea that our body is a meat suit and we're actually addicted to the emotions that we're feeling on a regular basis, and therefore if these emotions are negative and we start to do more positive things, we become happier and more successful, our body needs a hit, and until we clear these addictions, we're actually not ever going to get off the hamster wheel. So in the second video then I explained the technique, how you can clear this, and I gave you a little exercise to do with that. So before I go on, because I promised in this video what I'm going to do is explain each of the elements in that particular technique, in that particular affirmation. But before I do that, what I want to just do is put this whole thing in context. Many of us at this stage, I think, realize that we are amazingly powerful beings. And in fact, when I went to try and explain this first years ago, there was no way to explain it, but it was like if you had this amazing computer and the computer could create anything you wanted. And of course now we have these computers and we have 3D printers. You put the program in and hey presto, you actually create what you want. Well, that in fact is our minds. Our minds are creating everything in our lives. And it's happening whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, it's a fact. Your mind is creating your whole reality. What you're thinking, thoughts become things, as they say. Now, this is amazing because it also means that whatever's showing up, there's an opportunity for you to change all that. And as I say, you know, in terms of behavior and things, it's only the dogs that you're afraid of that bark at you. So if anything is coming up and triggering you, these are things that you have the opportunity to identify and address in your life. And that's very much what these affirmations are about. So what I'm going to do now is just take you through the actual affirmation that I gave you the last day and just go piece by piece and explain where each bit comes from. So the first bit, I release my need, that actually originally, the first time I came across that was in a book called You Can Heal Your Life by the very famous lady Louise Hay. And that was the first time I came across that. And I know I've sometimes had people in classes challenging me and saying we shouldn't be looking at negative things. But again, on this, and I refer to this in other videos, I love what Brad Yates says when he's doing all his EFT tapping. He says, you know, you're not going to go into your kitchen, see a stain and go and clean the bit that's already clear. So we really do have to face up to the things that we don't like in our lives, right? And this is what this whole exercise is about. So the first thing is I release my need because things aren't in your life unless you have some need for them. Now, this is about reprogramming your mind, and we're writing a new program. And for many years now, since I've been doing these affirmations, I put in the next little bit to need, and it's like going up a level in a program. So it's like, you're just getting to a whole other different level. The next piece then is the root cause, and that again is something that I've been putting into affirmations myself for quite a long time, because you want to get back to the very bottom of this. It's like if you're gardening, there's no point in pulling off the top of the dandelions. You need to get to the weed and pull it out, or the roots and pull it out. And I actually don't think the dandelions are weeds, but that's a whole other different story. And the whole reason for the root cause was because when you ask for this, it'll clear energetically. I mean, it can be in this life, it can be something in your childhood, but likewise it can be an ancestral pattern, because I've certainly noticed in my own life that, you know, unresolved patterns from the past, they keep coming down until somebody eventually has to deal with them. Or again, it can be something from a past life, and again, whether you believe in past lives or not, that's completely up to you. But again, I would have things that I've had to clear from my past lives. And the next bit then is of being addicted to, which I think is straightforward enough given the whole content of what we've been working on. And then you put in the piece, whatever your emotion or feeling or the description is that you wanted to put in. And all that information is on your last video for you. And then we get to the end, which is and all associated emotions, and their knock-on effects and consequences and their associated emotions. And it was funny, when I started to release the need for the root cause in the very beginning, this was the sort of the end. It was like the pen does automatic writing, and this is what came in at the end. And it makes a lot of sense because, you know, something bad happens and immediately you trigger, it's a whole waterfall of, oh, here's this injustice. And then the next bit of the story is, and life is so unfair to me anyway. And then it triggers more and more and more emotions, and a whole story goes off in your head. And we're addicted to that whole piece, not just the original emotion. And that's why we want to clear all of that out. So I hope that explains where that comes from. Now, I know other things that have been coming into my mind are like, I mean, how often do you need to write this out, and how many times? And certainly in my experience, what I've found is when I've written it once and written it really carefully, once is enough. And the other thing as well is like, what you can find is there can be flavors of things. Like I said in the last video, it can be that you're, you know, you can be releasing your addiction to worry, but you can be releasing your need to, your addiction to worry about particular things. So you know the way it can be, work around with it, see what works out. I'll be around if people want to put questions in for me to answer, etc. I'll be happy to answer them. What I would say is, as you start to clear the more obvious addictions, new ones will start to come up, ones that have been you know, in the background, things that don't trigger so often, because these are going to be, you know, what's there now, and your pain body or your body is going to be looking for some sort of a fix. So what I would say is my personal behavior on this at the moment is anything that triggers my solar plexus now, I keep my notebook with me and I note it down and I clear it when I get home, because I know it's not going to go away by itself. Just like I said last time round, you know, your attic, by thinking about clearing your attic, it's not going to happen by itself. So I am constantly vigilantly clearing all of these things. And I have to say, since I've started clearing them, I've cleared my addiction to lack and to struggle, to financial insecurity, to debt, to hardship. And in the last couple of weeks, what's happened now is I'm no longer worried about money. Money has started to flow in. I seem to have more money in my bank account. It seems to be going further. I seem to actually be beginning to have a life at this stage, without constantly going, oh my God, I paid for that. How am I going to now afford whatever it is to pay a bill or whatever it is I need? It's just changed because I was addicted to so many things around lack and finances, etc. And actually, on that note, I know a lot of that goes back. It's something I picked up from my dad, because his dad died when he was only a very small boy, and where his two older brothers were always really comfortable about money because, you know, they were teenagers by the time their dad died and had always grown up in a well-off house. Suddenly their mom during wartime was left with 5 kids to raise, and so my dad would have picked up by osmosis his mum's fear, and therefore that got passed on to me. And it's really interesting to watch. So that's it for now. Hope that's very helpful for you. It's certainly been great for me, and it works. I wouldn't be sharing it otherwise. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And like, you know, as I say, if you have questions, please feel free to put them there for me, either on YouTube or Facebook, and I'll be happy to answer them for you, because the sooner we can all free ourselves from this, the better the world is going to be, and the more positive a place for all of us. So see you in the next video. Take care. God bless. Bye bye.